Nation must intervene to stop the humanitarian crisis in Syria. Please introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yassine Yousfi. I'm from Fez. That is Zach Zubairi. He's from Fez. He's also who schooled me. This is Reem. That is Ali, Shahrazad, and Omar. They're also part of our team, but they're not debating today. I'd like to welcome you all to this debate, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Judges and ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm here to present you the members of the opposition, which are my colleagues and also my friends, Sara Gamrani and Mariam Bilali.
So let's start. Good luck, everyone.
Still there, please.
Apple still there.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, audience, and members of the opposition. Today we are arguing a serious case. We are arguing a matter of life and death. Today we are saying that the UN must intervene to stop the humanitarian crisis in Syria. First of all, we define the House to be the United Nations. Secondly, intervene. Intervene is to become involved in a situation in order to improve or help. And lastly, humanitarian crisis, which is defined to be a singular event or a group of events that are threatening in terms of health, safety, and well-being of a community. Let's start off with some background on the situation. In March 2011, the first Syrian protest has been held demanding democracy and fairness. And up till now, 160,000 people have been killed. Can you imagine that? 160,000 people lying in the street dead. 160,000 citizens and innocents who have been caught up in this war and did not ask for it. Not to mention 10,000 of civilians who have been imprisoned, tortured, displaced, or living in poor conditions. Let's move on now to the reasons why we think that the UN must intervene in this humanitarian crisis. First of all, the world cannot agree to be a part of the responsibility to protect and such norms and then sit idly when this crisis is happening. Because according to the R2P, which is the responsibility to protect, states must protect their own population from genocide, war crimes, and ethnic cleanses. But simultaneously, the international community has an obligation to help states prevent such crimes. Secondly, the purpose of the United Nations is that the government they should promote peace. It is supposed to be a group of nations helping other people and saving their lives. Because Syria's citizens had not asked for this. All they wanted was a fair, liberal democracy, and demonstrating for that should not result in them being killed. Thirdly, this is a civil war. It will not end itself. People need to get involved because hundreds and thousands of innocent people have been killed. Families have been separated, and children have been caught up in this war, and they have been dragged into it, and they tragically died. So this is why we are asking for intervention. We are first asking to send food supplies to these people. We are asking to send them medicine, give them shelter. And lastly, if all peaceful means haven't been successful, we are asking for military intervention as a last resort to stop the damage and force corrupt foreign governments to step down in saving countries, but also to prevent such crimes to happen in the future. So to conclude, we are not promoting violence, we are promoting successful intervention. And this intervention can be in any form. Of course, we have to reduce casualties because this is life we are talking about. This is people's life that are at stake. But measures should be taken to save these people and stop these criminals by all means and for good. And lastly, not to mention that we are Muslims. This is not just a political issue. This is a moral issue. We are talking now about our ummah, our brothers and sisters. So please, vote for the government team, because otherwise you will be allowing death, you will be allowing evil to take over a beautiful country with beautiful, nice people in there. And these people do not deserve to die just because of the conflict.
I'm sorry.
So,
Sorry, shouldn't you be showing time signals?
I give her 10 seconds plus.
What about time signals? Right, so, I don't know.
It's okay. We'll figure it out afterwards.
Because she got her own time on the table.
It's okay, no problem.
Mr. President, honorable judges, respectable members of government, good afternoon. Well, let me see if I could get this right. By supporting the intervention in Syria, it is suggested that we have to use force against human beings in order to establish human rights. We have to start a war in order to stop another. It seems a little bit contradictory. We, members of opposition, are totally against the humanitarian intervention of the United Nations in Syria. Actually, the international community has such reports, the International Criminal Court, an institution that has now the most brutal political and military leaders looking over their shoulders of fear they might be extradited to The Hague to answer for their crimes. If Bashar al-Assad found to have massacred his own population for the simple reason that they wanted to reclaim their rights, as almost certainly appears to be the case, well, he has to be put into trial for crimes against humanity. This, however, is a world away from the notion that the international community should intervene in the uncontrolled violence in the civil war of Syria. And that's for two reasons. First, the simple act of intervention is an illegal act. The UN Charter says itself, nothing contained in the present Charter shall authorize the United Nations to intervene in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. Moreover, in the 2000 Declaration of the South Summit by the Group of 77, composed of about 113 member states, and I quote, we reject...
Is the opposition suggesting leaving 8,000 children and thousands of children die because we do not want to intervene?
Well, I just got a quote. We reject the so-called right of humanitarian intervention, which has no legal basis in the United Nations Charter or in the general principles of international law. It may seem some kind of conspiracy, but logically speaking, ladies and gentlemen, it is unacceptable to commit a crime in order to stop another one from happening. The conclusion that leads us to the second major reason for us to refuse this kind of intervention in Syria. As the recent wars in Afghanistan and Iraq have demonstrated, the civilian death toll from external military intervention quickly have exceeded the one which prompted this intervention in the first place. Killing more Syrians than the Assad regime itself is no way to pay tribute to those killed by their own governments. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, and dear esteemed colleagues. We as the government stand before you today, advocating not only for an intervention, but advocating for the human's right for liberty and justice. Equality is being defined by a tyrant that is not respecting human rights in Syria. And therefore, we as the government believe that the time for intervention is now, and that the human rights being abused for Syrian people is not correct and is not moral. And so I will get more to this point in my speech. First off, the negative and the opposition suggest that we are using force against these people, while what we suggest is that militarily intervening is the last resort. What we suggested was intervening by giving care packages, medical health for these people that are dying. 8,000, ladies and gentlemen, 8,000 children have died in this war. Why? Do they not deserve the right to protest for democracy? Do they not have the right to live? We, the government, believe that they do. Thus, we strongly recommend that you honorable judges vote for the government, because we are protecting the Syrian children. We are protecting the Syrian women who have done nothing but wanted to live. Moving on to their second argument, saying that intervention is an illegal act. The sovereignty of a state can only be respected if that state is a stable and stable government and respecting the rights of the humans in this world. However, Bashar al-Assad has turned into a monster. He has turned into the next Hitler. He has killed over 160,000 people, ladies and gentlemen. For what? For him to stay in power? It sounds immoral to me. I am sure, ladies and gentlemen, that it sounds immoral to you too. We, as the government, think that the UN does not only have the right to intervene, but it is their moral obligation to do so. Because this institution has been founded in the first place to keep peace and stability in this world. And if they do not intervene, then I suggest that the UN must shut down and not even be an institution in today's world. Moving on to the second argument about Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, first off, I would like to tell you, judges and audience, that Iraq and Afghanistan, there was an intervention by only the United States. And the United States has special benefits to intervene there, such as natural resources, such as oil in Iraq and Afghanistan. But we are suggesting that the UN, a collaboration and a cooperation of countries that have emotions, that have a heart and mercy to stop children and innocent people from dying. And so Iraq and Afghanistan is irrelevant to this case, because this is a unique case where the UN, not only the United States, but the whole world, to give sympathy and empathy that these poor Syrians deserve. And so to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine walking out that door every day, being afraid of being shot, when you have done nothing wrong, when you would give your life for your country, only to see your country kill you out in the streets. I would like you to imagine you trying to protect your children, but there is nothing to do. These tyrants have troops, have guns, and these innocent people are being murdered. And so the question is today, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, how many more children? How many more women? How many more people must die before the judges vote for the government? I believe that number is 0. Therefore, I plead you, I beg you, dear judges, vote for the government, because we want to preserve the life of innocent people.
Dear judges, respected members of the opposition, I hear you loud and clear. I understand what you're saying, and I totally agree. But I don't agree that we should allow an intervention into Syria, for the very simple reason that study shows that 75% of people of Syria actually are with the regime of Assad. Your expression is priceless, but it is true. We are here in a world where information is manipulated. We are here in a world where people give information and give you only the information they want. They would manipulate you in the whole world just to get what they want. You said that the UN should intervene because, and has the right to intervene because people are dying. Actually, people are dying in other countries too, in Korea, in Palestine. Voices who are rising now to say that we should intervene in Syria kept quiet when in Gaza, Israel used white phosphor in 2006 and hurted children and innocent people. Why were they shutting up and now they are talking? What I don't understand is how can the international community be so dupe that they would believe that America and France, who are the leaders of this movement, that they want to preserve Syrians, that they want to give them freedom, that they want to save their lives. Let's not be dupe here. We know and we understand that they have ulterior motives. They wouldn't deploy their military and their...
Objection.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that we are being manipulated into believing that 160,000 people are dead?
Let me ask you one more thing. People who led the rebellion, you know, the alleged rebellion, we have studies that the causes of... I'm sorry, but what I want to tell you is that the people who are giving you those numbers, who are they? Are you sure of that number? Did this come from the UN? And because when allegation on the gas, it was not proven. Actually, people went there and the UN and they didn't